Sweet and sour meatballs made vegan. You kind of get that sweet and sour straight away. Then you pick up the nuance of the meatballs, the ginger, the scallion. It's an easy dish that is absolutely delicious. Hey, we're making sweet and sour meatballs made vegan with tofu. All right, it's super helpful if we press our tofu for like just even a minimum of 10 minutes, but 15 is even better. We're gonna place our tofu on a drain rack. We're gonna take an 18-ounce chef's press. We're gonna add a second 18-ounce. It's time to build the flavors, the aromatics, the spices. Our ginger grated on our microplane grater. Looking for about a tablespoon of ginger. I already have my 2 cloves of garlic grated. We're gonna thinly slice 1 shallot, cut up 3 scallions. We're gonna cut the entire scallion, the green part, the white part, all of it. 1 tablespoon extra virgin olive oil. We're gonna add our ginger first, the nice hot oil. We're gonna add our garlic. We're gonna let these 2 cook for roughly a minute. We're gonna add our shallot, our green onion. We're gonna add our spices, red chili flake, mushroom powder, Chinese 5-spice, kosher salt. Gonna get the essential oils activated. We're gonna add a teaspoon of toasted sesame oil, and we're gonna add our rice wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon of maple syrup. We're gonna allow this to just cool, hang out. It's very seasoned. Now it's time to finish our tofu preparation. We're gonna grate it with on a box grater. The chef's press have done their job. Now for the fun part. We have our normal box grater, old school, and we're just gonna grate the tofu. I like to flip it because we kind of get one side is grating faster than the other, so I just rotate it so it stays flat. I push fairly firmly. It's no big deal. The tofu is gonna break up when we mix it for the most part, but this is just a great way to develop texture in our meatball. And there we have our grated tofu. We're gonna place our shredded tofu in a mixing bowl. 2 tablespoons of garbanzo bean flour, 1 teaspoon of tapioca flour. We're gonna add half of our panko breadcrumbs. There's 3/4 cup to start, and I would rather add as I go and adjust rather than add too much and have to start adjusting the moisture content so that the meatballs stick together. We're gonna add our 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And finally, we're gonna add our cooked aromatics and spices. We're just gonna start the mix until everything is completely evenly distributed. I was thinking about this as I was mixing. Everybody's gonna press the tofu differently or not press it at all, which means we have a different level of moisture in the tofu, which affects how the starches and how the tofu ball is gonna hold its shape. So if you have a lot of moisture in your tofu, you're gonna need more binders, more breadcrumbs, more garbanzo bean flour to help manage absorbing the liquid to keep the shape of the tofu ball. That is one of the parts of this recipe that I don't have control over when I'm writing it, is how much you press your tofu. So what you need to look for is when you take your tofu and you squeeze it together, we can form a ball that holds its shape and has a nice look and kind of texture to it. You want a tofu ball that keeps its shape and its texture. We don't want it too moist because then it could tend to fall apart. Okay, the meatballs are formed. We're gonna let the meatballs just kind of hang out for like 10 minutes to continue to hydrate and set. And then our last step is I like to roll them in just a little bit of extra panko on the outside before we bake them. And to prep our baking sheet, I'm gonna drizzle a little bit of sesame oil onto the baking sheet. All right, our sheet pan is ready. I like this last little step for 2 reasons. 1, it helps it crisp. 2, it helps me just reshape the tofu ball, making sure it has a nice texture and it's holding together. It's just one of those nice steps. Now it is time to pop them in the oven, 425, for about 25 minutes. I tend to rotate them about halfway through because the bottoms start to get crispy and then you get the tops crisp. We're off to the oven. The meatballs are in the oven, which means we gotta get rolling on our sweet and sour sauce. We're gonna put our pan over medium heat. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna start with sauteing our onions. And everything is kind of on the smaller dice because, you know, our meatball's smaller. We're gonna add just a pinch of salt. Add our peppers. Gonna cook for another 2 minutes. In goes our pineapple. We're gonna turn up the heat just a little bit. We're gonna cook the pineapple until tender. I think I am gonna add just a pinch of salt here so that the pineapple can have a little seasoning. Okay, that's perfect. We're gonna combine, this is all of our wet ingredients, the tomato paste, the soy sauce, sweet soy sauce, sugar, water, rice wine vinegar, and cornstarch into the pan. As soon as it thickens up, we're gonna pull it off the heat. It's already done. As soon as it boils, that cornstarch is activated. That's it. We're gonna add our scallions at the very end so they keep their beautiful color. And there's our sauce, so fast. The tofu balls are out of the oven. They're nice and crispy on the outside. They have great texture and durability. They're tender. Perfect. All we have to do now is build this beautiful plate. I really enjoyed how the flavors continue to build in the bite. First, you kind of get that sweet and sour straight away because that's like the big dominant flavor. But then you pick up the nuance of the meatballs, the ginger, the scallion, the texture of it. It's an easy dish that is absolutely delicious. And I think I'm gonna eat the rest of it. So, as always, I'll see you next week. Bye.